Hey, well, welcome
Hey,
everyone. Hi, Mouse. So glad you joined me for this one. Man, was it fun.
it's a
Man,
good one.
it's a definitely good one. Hey, Shell, thanks for joining in. Yeah. We've got, just for those of you coming in or even joining us later, if you hear us mentioning names, we've got three different chats going. We are live on YouTube, we are live on Kick, and on Twitch all at the same time. So we're handling multiple chats there, or at least trying to, right, Mouse? Because I don't do very good with that sometimes. I'm trying to get better at it. I really am. But,
I'm
um,
always messing my chat up. So.
I don't know, but with Black Mirror, I get distracted because I absolutely love Charlie Brooker's whole series, Black Mirror. I don't think like even though some of them episodes are not my favorite, like is I might like other episodes better. I've never walked away from a Black Mirror episode saying I'm never watching this shit again, like ever. And it's 7 seasons, and that's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Like it's like we're hitting like 26, 27, 28, like whatever episodes. And I've done a review of every single one. I'm definitely a fan. So if you guys think I'm going to be bashing anything, well, I do have a few criticisms, but not much. Like I try to be a little bit fair, you know, but I am total fan. I'm just gonna be straight out and admit it. Like I'm a total fan of this whole series. And this one was odd, right, Mouse? Because this is totally something he does not really do, right?
Yeah, like this was a continuation of an earlier episode. Like,
Ex- exactly. And we're talking about of the USS Callister. And it actually started, how impressive, like a month or two into like right where they left off. Like right where they left off.
yeah,
Like,
I think it was like 2 or 3 months into it, and they're
mm-hmm.
like picking it right back up. It's like wouldn't have even known. It's like you wouldn't have been able to tell there was like seasons between the two.
Exactly. It was like a long wait in between. But they did such a fantastic job. I mean, usually I try to look at the cinematography and the director, and this was written by multiple people in Charlie Brooker's universe there. Like he added like his whole team. I think there was at least 5 people credited for the writing. In the director was very good, but what I have to give him credit for, the director's name was Toby Haynes, is that he did it pretty much the same as the first one, right? Like there was no jarring, like this is so different,
Yeah, like it
at
it
all,
it, it looked the same, like
right?
same, campy vibe of
You know,
the yeah.
yeah, although it was very special effects oriented, and I have to say that the special effects people, the supervisor of that was James McLaughlin. He did a good job too of not making it too out of the realm of what the first one had. In the second, like all the same kinds of things. The cinematographer kept the sets the same. The layout, the colorization, everything was like you said, like just like you stepped right in from one into the other. And you wouldn't even think that whole years went by, like whole seasons went by without it continuing at all. 1 second, you guys probably heard Turo come in for a scratch. Okay, boy, there you go. Now go be good. Go on, go be good. All right, shutting the door so he doesn't do that again. He can open the door himself, by the way. Like I don't really, unless you click it, like he can open it. So sorry about that. But the continuation, and even of this, the whole cast, besides one person who they very seamlessly explained their omission from the sequel, remake, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah,
continuation, and that was the character Shania, who um who they said got killed. In what they're doing with those like raid things. Like I guess we should talk about that. Let's
yeah.
talk about that, Mousy. Tell them what they're doing. Like how does this open up? Like the premise of what's going on there.
Okay, so it opens up, and it's been a few months after the initial USS Callister,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, she's going into work. Nanette's like, she's like, I'm going into work, but she's not. She's having dreams. She's not. She's remembering everything that led up to
Mm-hmm.
Bob's death.
Yeah, it was not only Bob but Watson too, right? Or Walton, right? I get his
Yeah,
name mixed up. But yeah, he burns up, Walton burns up, and they just leave Bob out in the abyss, like,
yeah, and he
um
ends up dead in the real world. Like,
even though he's responsible for all of this shit, like, they're very human about it. They're like, they didn't want to kill anybody or do
yeah,
anything.
and so you know, they're they're trying to survive on the ship, and you know, going out and doing raids, trying to stay under the radar because they're not supposed to be in this game. And real world Nanette is having to deal with the aftermath of, did I kill my boss? And you've got two parallel storylines going on here. You've got
Mm-hmm.
what happened in the game and what's happened in the real world. And Nanette has no real world. Nanette has no idea that she's got another consciousness in this video game at all
Right.
when this whole thing opens.
Mm-hmm.
And she still hasn't pieced together what's happened. And it starts there. And
Mm-hmm.
she's going into work, and she walks in, and there's a memorial for Robert Daly, for Bob. And she's
Mm-hmm.
like, what, like, it hits her like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And she thinks she hears the receptionist say, it's your fault. And she was
Yeah.
talking about her badge not working. And she's
Right.
like, I didn't kill Daly.
Yep. And it's weird because, like, that kind of confused me a little bit, because that's the real world, and we're not sure she understands what's going on in the real world versus where her clone is. Like, what kind of connection everyone has to their clone, right? Um,
Exactly.
except for that, we do know that, well, Walton died in clone version of the world, but he didn't die in the real world. And yet Daly died in clone version world, but now he's dead in the real world. So, like, it's a little confusing, right? Like, what makes one
Yeah.
different than the other, except for the fact that they collapsed the world, like they escaped out and just, detached him from the game, so to speak. I
Yeah.
don't
And
know.
the game deleted him, and it ended up killing him.
Mm-hmm.
And like that, like finding out that, from that happening, like, they were trying to save themselves. They ended up murdering him, but
Mm-hmm.
he was keeping them prisoner against their
Y-
will. They didn't ask to be there.
No. And the whole concept of a sentient clone that thinks like you, acts like you, is you, and is human
Mm-hmm.
is is like, how do you tell the difference from one to the other? Which made for quite the comedic scene when Walton and it's Nanette meet Walton and Nanette, the clones.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you're me. No, me. No, I'm me. You're you. Like, I was just like, yeah, but like, you're the same. Like, how do you deal with that?
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, see, when they met, though, it was like you could see how being in the game had hardened Nanette, and it had
Right.
changed her into like someone
Right.
who actually took charge, and she became the captain.
Right. Because
And
she didn't want it, but they made her the captain. Like, she had to. And now they've got this whole routine that they really don't like. They have to actually go into the game to get credits just to exist,
yeah,
because of just like most gaming, everybody who does gaming will understand this. You play video games, you've got to have credits and you've got to have, money to proceed to do anything. So even just to run the ship that they live on, like, and everything, they need credits. They need credits to move around. They need credits to eat. Like, they need credits for all of it. And they can't have any way to producing it but going and robbing people because they have no gamer tags. They can't actually play the game to get the credits because they're not supposed to be there. They're clones. They're put in there artificially by Robert Daly. So they can't even do the normal function that you would do. And so you can tell they're very uncomfortable doing what they do. They're not really good at it. How many times did Nanette go on a mission and get shot at, killed, hurt, like beat up? Like she's not really good at it.
Like the first time you see her do it, she's like, "I gotta go patch my tit." It's like, they're like, "How do you patch it?" Granted, she did, like, her suit got torn, but she also really got stabbed, and that's the difference. When they get stabbed in the game, they bleed,
and
other players just disappear.
Right. And here it is. They're making waves because they're doing stuff by robbing and stealing credits from other legitimate players who are just there playing a video game. They don't know this is life or death. They don't know that those are clones. They just know that they're like hackers of some sort, cheaters of some sort, because they have no game tag. It doesn't say who they are. And they're robbing them of their stuff and killing them. Like, killing them by removing them from the game, which they can come back right away. But still, it's very frustrating. It's some of those extra characters that they put in, the game players, are hysterical. I loved that interaction. That was like really real, especially Pink Chick. You know who I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because if somebody kept trying to steal my stuff and shoot at me and didn't have a gamer tag and they were wrong, that would be me. I would keep coming back to kick their butt. Like I did. Like, I really appreciated that because I could feel that. I was like, that is exactly how a gamer would react. They would be like, "Oh, hell no. Back into the game. Oh, hell no. No, don't. How dare you kill me again? Oh, back into the game." Like, they would just keep doing it. It was quite entertaining. It was really entertaining.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it very much. Yeah.
Yeah. And it goes to show you can't underestimate someone, because when they went to go take her credits, they thought she was a new player. She didn't know what she was doing, relatively new, so it would be an easy, easy tag. Like, they just get it and go and it'd be over with. And she was actually a really good gamer. And she got a few hits in. Like,
she took it seriously. She was taking them out. Like, if they didn't transport them, they were really, really going to get hurt. Like, Clarence has a good question here. This is actually quite humorous. And that's one of the things I wanted to remark about the episode is it was very human in the reactions that people had to stuff. And it was very also humorous. It was like, it was so real. It was hysterically funny, like in a lot of points. The writing was sublime. Like, I was in heaven. And Clarence says, "Hi, Claire. Is getting to watch the Real Housewives of Atlanta suitable reward for what they had to go through?" In their eyes, in a small universe that they're living in on that ship, it sure the hell was, because they were really adamant about it. Like, adamant about it throughout the whole thing. Every chance they got. She goes off the ship, right? Mouse, the captain goes down on a mission. Like, and what do? They go, "Put it on. She's not here. Put up Atlanta." And then at the end, which we'll get to, it was their just rewards. Very much.
Sometimes it's the little things. It's the little things, But yeah, and yeah, that was the crazy thing, was them just underestimating the people they were going after, and trying to figure out ways to survive in this game where they're not supposed to be.
Yeah, and they're getting to a point where all the players are starting to make complaints about these rogue no tag players who are disrupting the game and stealing from them. It's becoming a problem. And so in real life, the programmer, what's his name? Kabar, like whatever.
Yeah.
I can't.
I can't pronounce his name. I'm
terrible with names. His name is Kabir. I'm sorry, Kabir Dudani. Okay, Kabir. Sorry, Kabir. I mean, you're a great character. He was one of the funnier ones because he's so serious about the game in real life. Right? But then on the ship,
in real life, And on
Yeah.
the ship.
And on the ship, like he's the programmer guy, right? In like, so he goes to complain to Walton, who in real life is still like the idiot, like the just business, just cares about money, doesn't even play his own game, and just use Robert Daly to the max to do this. Isn't even batting an eyebrow that he's not around anymore because the game's still going on, right? So
Yeah, he's still making
yeah.
money.
No, he's using his death because of a freaking interview he's going to do with the New York Times guy who played asshole reporter to a T, by the way.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Because he softens him up and then says, "Oh, can I record this?" Gets it recording, and then right out of the gate talks about Robert Daly's death, and then brings up the Marauders, people complaining, even though Walton's just heard about it and he thinks it's only 2 or 3 people, which in essence it really is. But it's a big thing in the gaming discords for the game itself, the Infinity world of gaming. Gamers, somebody does this kind of shit and it starts going like wildfire. They start telling everybody about it, especially if you can't report it to the game devs because there's no game tags.
So there's no one to report.
They can't get anybody to report it because they can't get the people kicked. So these people are just running around free in the game, but then they start talking about conspiracies and stuff because they bleed. And everybody starts thinking, is it real or is it not? Like, what is going on here? Like, you can't bleed in the game. There's no blood in the game. Like, what's going on here?
It's family friendly, there's no blood in here.
Yeah, so
rating.
Yeah, so it's taken off in the discourse, which is going to end up affecting the market. So Walton decides to get involved, especially since the New York Times reported he's on it. He starts talking about it.
There was something else that New York Times reporter brought up.
Mm-hmm.
He showed Walton the video, the body cam footage of the night Daly died. And he had some illegal tech on his desk.
Right.
That made computer clones. And that set Walton tizzy. He got real upset about that.
Yeah, because he'll go to jail. It's his game. Even if the programmer was doing something illegal, he's going to go to jail. And he starts saying, like, he threatens the guy. He says, "You better not report on this." He said, "Because I'm not responsible for what anybody does in their private life." Like, thankfully, Daly, that footage that he showed is Daly's garage, his private space. It wasn't work. It wasn't his work terminal. It wasn't on the job. Like, you know what I mean? Even though we know he was programming 24/7 for Walton, because Walton admitted that to Nanette, that he used him. He locked him up emotionally and pressured him into just doing this 24/7 constantly. Like, took advantage of his weak constitution. It bulldozed him, pretty much.
Bulldozed him into doing what he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And how they even found out. Okay, so in the first one, Walton gets obliterated, right?
Right.
He's gone. Like, they don't even know.
He burns up. He burns up in the battle. Right. In the battle he was the decoy for Daly, right? Mm-hmm. He was out of the ship. He was in a different ship, right? Like, he was the decoy. And he got burnt up, like, real bad. Yeah. Like, he was gone. Yeah.
He was gone. And then one of the other characters, it was oh my goodness. Again, I'm horrible with names, but it was the one guy with the gym bag that Daly kept tripping over.
Is that Karl?
That was the bad Karl.
Karl. Okay, yeah.
It says, well, Walton's room is right below mine. And they're like, wait, he's not here. He shouldn't have a room. And they figured out he's still alive in the game. And he's been like months out on this whole island by himself. And they go and find him. And this is about the time where like all the crap just hits the fan.
It does, because at the same time they're figuring out that if he's going to be anywhere, it would be on a newly created planet at that time. In the real world, Nanette is figuring that out, that's how she's going to track down where everybody is. Mm-hmm. At the right? Like, if this is like us and Daly died and this, well, then we've got to go for a new world that was created at this time. And they all end up in the same place at the same time. And that's when they meet each other. Yeah. On the mission, which was hysterical. Because while they're up there watching it, Real Housewives of Atlanta, the rest of the crew, Nate and Nanette are down there. No, not Nate. Just Nanette
Just
and
Nanette.
just Nanette and Walton. She rescued him in his like Tom Hanks version. Wasn't that funny
with
when she
his
picks up
foot.
the rock and she goes, "There's a hole in the back of this rock." She gets all grossed out. He goes,
I hadn't noticed.
oh, is there?" So I was like, the humor that they put in there, I was really pleased because it was very like it was very tongue in cheek, but it was very human. Like all the reactions, the way she just threw that thing, that's typically a reaction somebody would have when they realized what the hole was for. They'd be like, "Ah!" And he's like, "Don't drop him on his face," talking just like Tom Hanks did about Wilson, like the ball being real. Yeah, it was pretty good. I love the way the writing goes back and forth from the real world to clone world, like, and
Yeah.
similar things are happening, and you can see the writing and the projectile to where we're coming to a point, right? Like you could see where everything's like coming, like you said, to a head. And they almost killed them when they saw them. They almost killed them.
Yeah. And Nanette couldn't understand at first because when so Nanette has to go and tell Walton she found the clones. Like she found
Mhm.
not the clones, but she found the scammers, the people that are
Mhm.
without the player tags.
And it's them.
And it's them. And she's like, "Well, the first one's Nate." And he goes, "Who's Nate?" And he's like,
Because
"Coffee guy."
yeah, he doesn't know anybody that works for him really, except for Daly. Like he could care less. He's such a detached boss. He only worries about what he's worried about. Like when Nate came in, or what Kabir came in to tell him about the Marauders, he's like, "I'm doing boss shit. Like, get away. Like, go away. I don't want to hear it. Like, I gotta do some boss stuff. Like, leave me alone." And he doesn't want to hear anything. Yeah. And when he tells him
And
there's only two, he's like, "Come on." Like, it didn't affect his bottom line as far as he was concerned. He didn't want to hear about it until Nanette tells him it's about clones, and that's a device that was on Matt's, Daly's disk, right? Was actually
yeah,
probably used because there are actual clones in the game, human
of
clones, and that
of
Bob
her
Daly
and
probably did it. Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh, no." He's like, "We've got to go." She's like, "We've got to go figure out what's going on in there. These are us.
Hmm.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, we got to go take care of this." And he's like, you start seeing him being a little bit more concerned about this than he should be, because if Daly did it, Daly's dead. He's
Right.
gone.
And he's not going to be able to undo it or tell them where the code is to get rid of it or anything. And
Yeah.
and they have Daly set up in from the first episode of USS
Yeah.
Callister as being absolutely detached genius to the psychopath level, like totally, like he just,
Yeah. Like he could have fallen for it all, and
yeah,
what
it's
would have
like
been fine.
it's like man in his own world creates his own world to his
Mm-hmm.
specifications repeatedly, like over and over again. And that is just such a scary thought. Like, but
Mm-hmm.
so the only time that Walton gets serious about finding out is when he realizes he's going to go to jail if this is
Mm-hmm.
true, and that they have to go kill the clones. So he doesn't even know there's a clone of himself yet because she's only disclosed that there was Nate in her, because that's all she knows so far. Although she did find the whole list, right? So they
Mm-hmm.
suspect, but like I don't think
They don't.
I don't think he thought he would meet himself face to face the way he did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, because they go at that point, they jump in the game. They find
Hmm.
Nanette and Walton, and he doesn't even know how to get in his own game. She's got to show him how to put the nubbin on and how to
Exactly.
get into the game, and he's just like oblivious. And it's like, this multi-million-dollar game is yours. Like,
He was the typical business honcho who's only worried about money and is using everybody to get there. He doesn't care about anything else. Like that's it. And he's making
yeah.
a lot of money with Infinity, but it's all Robert Daly. It's all Robert
Oh,
Daly. Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
It gives a lot of Ready Player One vibes. It really
Doesn't it?
does.
And that kind of goes along with what Mrs. Cassandra is saying. She goes, "Oh man, this is giving me anime plot wakes up in a game." Exactly. I was thinking that as I go, like what that would be like to wake up and realize you're in not a reality. You're in like your favorite sitcom. I mean, there's been movies like this and series like this. And, it's just that kind of plot. Like you wake up and you actually realize you're not in reality anymore, but it feels like reality, and you have to act like it's reality to survive because you feel like you're going to die. Like you feel like you're there and you could actually die in this alternate wherever it is. So it's like, it's so bizarre. It's got to be like the weirdest sensation, especially when Nanette looks at herself when they meet.
Mm-hmm.
And real Nanette is timid and unsure, and she's very smart, and she actually has all the answers. Well, she just doesn't have the demeanor. She's a little bit skittish, right? And
Yeah,
here
she's a
she
little
is,
naive, lacking confidence.
right? And here she is looking at a captain who's like, "Who the hell are you? Don't call you me. I'm me. You're you." Like she just tells him straight out. Like the confidence that she exudes as the captain, right? And everybody's looking at her. She feels the pressure and all, but it was like weird. And here's like businessman screw everybody over, Walton from the real world, looking at the other Walton, who's really a kindler, gentler version of Walton, like a human being,
He's meaner,
which,
timider, and
yeah.
he realized that Daly had found something that he genuinely did love to hold over his head, and
Hmm.
he just didn't want that to didn't want anything to happen to his son.
Right. Yep. And it
And
was just, yeah, that was from the season one where
yeah,
Daly threatened Walton with the sucker in his son's life to be able to still do what he wanted to do. Because here it was, he was doing whatever he wanted to do with Walton not giving a crap. And then all of a sudden, Walter started butting in and was going to try to limit him. That was it. Like, he felt power now. It was never going to happen. Like, he was willing to cross lines to keep his little unreality world alive.
yeah,
Yeah, because he was awful.
he was
In
horrible.
season one, he was horrible, and they all have memories of how horrible he was. Well, when we get to the part now where Nanette in the real world has to go try to find, and Nanette in the clone world, they have to try to find him, right? Because the only way to survive in this game is to eliminate themselves from the rest of the players, to create a world where they can exist without the game in
And
in the game world, like separate and apart.
yeah,
In
and
that,
that's kind.
go ahead.
I'm sorry, but that was part of the reason they also needed game Walton back,
Hmm.
because there's only two people that could help them stay alive in this game, and one was dead, not
Hmm.
just in the real world, but in the game too. And then Walton's alive, but the Walton on the outside is this horrible man. And then there's the other Walton that kind of knows what the stakes actually are.
And he does.
And
And both Waltons are extremely valuable because they're the only one that can give the rest of them access to the code and permissions that they need to do what they need to do. Because Walton confesses to Nanette that he actually didn't kill Daly, that he is trapped in the game at the heart of the game.
yeah, there is a version of
A
Daly
version
still
of
alive.
him. So a version of Daly is still alive that real world Daly did, which was mind blowing to me that he did that. He captured him in his own place so that he could get him to do what he wanted whenever he wanted. That he would always have a version of him to keep the Infinity game going. That was mind blowing and diabolical to me. Absolutely diabolical. The,
And it was kind of um I'm trying to look at the word, but it was kind of ominous, the fact that what Daly did was the same thing that Walton had already done to Daly.
Mm-hmm.
And like he didn't know that he'd done it. Like Walton knew that there was a version of him, not Walton. Daly knew there was a version of him inside that game, but Walton didn't know that Daly had made a version of him. So that's kind of mind blowing there when you find all this out.
It is, and it's kind of like which came first, the chicken or the egg, because you're wondering, was it Walton's deeds against Daly that made him start doing this, or was Daly just always like that, and it was Walton trying to control Daly from doing it? Like, I'm confused about that because I actually think it was a response, like the idea of making all of these clones and making his own world. I think that came from the way Walton was treating Daly. I really do. I think like putting him there to do whatever he wanted, him putting all that control on him to turn him into like a puppet, right? And he's like, oh hell, like I need to do that with somebody else. It's like it's kind of like the next step, right? It's just like what he learned, and he wanted to feel it for himself. Yeah.
When the abusee becomes the abuser, it was
exactly.
like a big vicious cycle.
It's a vicious cycle of regaining your own personal power, and it's detrimental to a long-term recovery, but it is often the first step. You find yourself doing that stuff to gain control back of everything that's been stripped away from you. And I think that's like kind of how it went, and I was just like, oh man, like I don't want to feel bad for Daly, but I did occasionally end up feeling bad for Daly. I did.
Yeah, because who knows how it would have ended up if, because of Walton's greed, if they would have just worked on it the way they were supposed to work on it. If they didn't have to have someone there 24/7 pumping out code.
This is true.
And
this is true. Yeah. But it gets so fascinating because as they're working to try to find a way for the clones to exist without getting, attacked all the time, because we're cutting out some of the parts, like where the Metallica ship throws up when she's not there, and they don't have any credits to get away. Like they really emphasized how important it is that they kept doing this marauding because they need the credits just to function. They couldn't even travel away from this ship that wants to kill them because of course you got one of the most famous Metallica songs wrong. Like of course they're going to kill you now. Of course how insulting is that? No, I digress, but seriously, it was pretty funny. Like the dead silence because they got the name wrong, then they realize they get the name wrong, and then all of a sudden they want to kill them because they have no gamer tags. They're just gonna annihilate them. And they can't get away because they have no credits, and they start screaming, "We have no credits!" And at the last minute, they show up with the credit bar, put it in there, and then they can warp out of danger. But that's how they were showing us how they really didn't want to do the marauding. They don't want to steal from people and stuff, but they really don't have any choice. It's a matter of survival. Like it's not something, and they're trying to find a way out of that. Yeah, it's quite the position, and they're working towards it, and it all comes down to programming, in trying to find a safe place, and the only safe place is going to be outside of the Infinity game somehow, or walled
like
off
bubble
planet, right?
Yeah,
a
like
bubble planet. Exactly how he walled off Daly, but like not at the center of the game, just like somewhere, So they start working towards that, but in order to do that, Nanette's got to go into the walled off center of Infinity to meet with Robert Daly. And it's real, Nanette, right? So she has all the
it's actually it's game Nanette.
It's game Nanette. Okay.
Before that
happened, go ahead.
When during the part where Nanette and Walton from the real world come in and find the clones, they end up, Walton ends up attacking them. He ends up wanting to kill them. And she's like, you can't do that. They're human. And they end up shooting him and getting him out of the game. And luckily, he doesn't know how to get back in. He can't get back into the game. And Nanette, when they get him out, Game Nanette tells Real World Nanette, you have to get out there and you have to stop him from coming back. And they get her out, and they don't realize the harm they just thrust Nanette into.
That's how real Nanette ends up getting hit by the car and put into the coma, and lets Walton free on his own. But to their advantage, Walton knows nothing about the game. Like, he don't know how to maneuver in there. He don't know how to get it. Like, so what does he do? Right, Mouse? He wakes up Kabir, who has already quit and left and is sleeping. And he's like, how do I get into the game? And he's like, what? Like, if you get tossed out of the game, how do you get back? Because he didn't even know how to get back into the game.
Yeah, and Kabir's like, you don't even know how to play your own game? Like, he couldn't wrap his head around this. Plus, he's in a sleep haze, so he doesn't know what he's doing. So, of course, he's going to tell his boss, who's just offered him this giant raise, to come back and help him, you know, everything he needs to know.
Exactly. Indeed. But not, right? It's I really feel like it was kind of like, you're just like, oh my God. She's like, what are they going to do now? First, I thought she was dead, but she's not. She's in a hospital. And they find out by calling her. Nanette calls herself and talks to the doctor. That was kind of odd. Oh, I'm her sister. Just tell me. And they go, oh, you're really far away, but you should get here. No, I'm really, really far away. The way she said it, I was just like,
I'm real far.
Yeah, like I'm in another dimension, like not even in reality. Like, you know, I don't know how to explain this to you, but it kind of throws a monkey wrench into everything.
Yeah, and like Nanette realizes, like, this is her only chance to actually stay alive. Like, she's it. Like, there is no real world Nanette anymore. Like, if she doesn't go and she doesn't convince Daly to put them in this bubble, they will all die. So she tells them to send her, send her in. She's gonna go take care of it.
Yeah. And so I see, that's where I got a little confused on which one it was, but you're right. Because like what the turn of events is, she's already in the coma, so it couldn't have been real in it.
Yeah.
So she goes to the room, but she still has all the memories of what Robert Daly did to her when she first got on the ship, right? And he was, you know,
he's not a nice person. But this isn't the same Robert Daly, or is it? Because they don't know. They don't know if he was always like that.
Yep. I mean, but you know, she's meeting a much more timid version of him at first, right? She's kind of like taken aback a little bit. Like, gosh darn, that garage, you know, where he works, it's exactly like the first day that Walton met him.
Yeah,
it's just
like down
it's the same. Yep.
Every bit of it, like every little campy detail of like being the sci-fi fan. I mean, it's classic, like techie. Like they have all of the DVDs and the CDs and comic books and books and you know, tasers and, you know, battle weapons, and because there are a few, not many, but there are some. But you know, and it's you can tell he is like the die-hard fan. Like that was his world.
It's that Space Fleet, the knockoff show, you know, of Star Trek, like that he was like, you know, following. He has all the memorabilia. And I gotta say, in his room alone, there is so many Easter eggs that we will get to later. Like, it was like crazy the amount of stuff that's going on over there. Like, you know, because anytime there's bookcases and shelves in computer desks or walls, heads up, people, there are definitely Easter eggs. You know, all over the place. Well, So they meet, and it seems to be going well, right? He's trying to be so timid and kind and seems lonely. And
And I mean, he like no one's come to visit him. He's in there alone. Well,
mm-hmm.
I mean, as far as we know, he's in there alone.
Mm-hmm. And she tries
And
to, and she tells him the predicament, and he's like, well, he could help her, and he's willing to help her, which is like surprising, you know. What he kind of plays a trick on her, which I found amusing. Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of like, well, which one's it going to be, the red pill or the blue pill? Are you gonna stay with your crew, or are you gonna let me put you back in your body? And he's
Right,
like, they
because
have
he
a
tells her,
neurotransmitter hooked up to you, so
right. So it's possible that we can just save you. You can have your old life back, or we can save the whole crew. In It's kind of like he says like it's kind of reminiscent of an episode that he's referring to from Starfleet, where the captain was put in the same position. And she chooses the crew, and he tells her that, oh, that's good, that's exactly what the commander did. So he gets this like glint in his eye, really respectful, that she's like a good person. He says like, but that was a test because you can actually have both. And she's like, what? Yeah. So
she's like,
mm,
yeah, but yeah, yeah, she was very, very shocked. And he was like, sorry for tricking you, but like, otherwise, how are we going to role play the whole Starfleet thing? And
mm,
yeah, until he does make a mistake though, and he's like, okay, well, we just have to copy and paste everything. And she's like, no, you cut and paste. You don't need a copy. And he goes, yeah, but then how will you stay here with me?
right. And then he
And
says, and I'll make it nice for you. Like, we don't have to do anything. Like, in this, of course, you want to. And like all of this. And this is like right
and
back to where the original relationship with Bob Daly.
right back to the beginning. It's like where it all
Mhm.
started. It like went full circle here.
Nope. And so they have like a little bit of a disagreement, and he gets the feeling she's not really working with him now. So he mutes her again, like takes her mouth away, like
Mm-hmm.
out of anger, which he has been polite, like pretty much. A little weird, but not really aggressive like he was in the first time they met. Um, but he ends up muting her, and she ends up fighting back, and she ends up killing him. He had shown her the disc before that she would need, but of course, hence the drama comes after that, which my heart was beating so fast at this point, because she throws that fancy knife and gets him right in the head. Pretty gory, you know. Well, then she goes to get the disc, and what does she do? She just knocks them all onto the floor, and now they're all there, and they're all different colors, and he doesn't freaking label anything. And she like going nuts trying to find it,
Like,
because
label your discs.
when he died, what happened? What happened, Mousy? As soon as
The
he died, what happened?
same thing. Same thing that happened the first time. It's gonna delete everything,
A
her
kill switch.
included.
Yep. They're gonna just gonna annihilate everybody. We're just gonna end everything because he didn't get his way. Typical psychopath reaction.
And you think it couldn't get worse, right? You think none of this could get any worse at all. But Kabir told Walton how to get back in the game. So while all
Mhm.
this is going on, she has no idea. Walton's already gotten back on the ship, not ship Walton out, and invited every player that
Mhm.
they ever robbed to
To come get
come
them.
get
Mhm.
them and take
And they
care
don't
of them for him.
and they don't have enough credits to go anywhere. So they're sitting there like dead ducks, waiting.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, my stomach was getting like, I was really into it. I was like, oh damn, what now? What now?
And I
What?
mean, and you see them all, even when Pink Girl pops back up and they're all
Uh-huh.
chasing them. they're
They are
like,
so excited. They're like, nay, we're into this. Like, this is it. We get
mhm.
revenge. Like, here we go. Let's play. Yeah.
They
I
all
think
get that party invite and they're
yeah.
like, oh, we're on it. Boom. And
It,
they
it was
all log in.
it was all
And
sour grapes with them because they had like they couldn't report them. They couldn't do anything about it. So they were just waiting to meet with them again. Like, it's not gonna go
mhm,
well.
yeah.
I do like the gaming characters. I think I said that before. The characters
Mhm.
that they designed, like that they wrote around, like just the gamers, were pretty typical. We had the guy that was gaming from his bedroom and his mom yelling at him for his language. You know, we had the over aggressive female who was just ready to kill everybody. And don't you even treat her like this is real life because this ain't the way it's going to go. Like, just like it was just so good. They the ones that are so good with the ships and maneuvering, like the one that thinks he's so good at flying and like all of it. I mean, it was pretty good. Like they made them
Yeah.
diverse and kind of characters of characters. You know what I mean? Like larger
Mhm.
than life. It was very entertaining. I did enjoy that. You know,
Yes. That was, I mean, like you had all different avatars going on, you know,
hmm
in the head. Yeah. I mean, it was great. And
it
ships flying everywhere. It had some really good special effects for
that
it
I
to be what it was.
it did.
It had some
I
good
was
special.
not disappointed because not only did they keep it like pretty much considering the first episode, USS Callister, many episodes ago, they kept the feel of it and the special effects pretty similar, but they enhanced them a little bit more and they added some others, but not so horrible that it stuck out like this isn't even the same generation of film. You know what I mean? Like they kept it on par, but very, very entertaining. You know. I always remark on how he builds Charlie Brooker builds his teams. He just seems to get people that love what he's doing, like people that liked the whole part of this being like a kind of pseudo Star Trek kind of thingy, and keeping along that nine and the gaming line. And they really got it because the director, the cinematography, production staff, and even the actors seemed to get it. Like they were really acting like gamers and people in the gaming industry. Like they got it. Body language, verbal language, the way they reacted to things. It was really cool to see. You
Yeah.
know.
And the fact that the world was supposed to be so immersive. So these people were really in the game. And it, again, brings you back to, what is it, Striking Vipers? Because it reminded me, that was the first time we saw them going into the video games.
Hmm.
Or one of the few times where they went into the video games. I think there was another episode with video games, but Striking
Oh,
Vipers was the one where they could actually, put the nubbin
oh,
on and
one of my favorite. You could go into any game and be a character, and feel man or woman everything that they did. Like
yeah.
that is one of my favorite episodes. If that technology exists, I would be there. I would sell my house to get that technology.
The best thing though about when the it started and they had gotten into the actual game from where
Mm-hmm.
it ended, from the last one ended, was that they weren't, because Daly took everything away. Like they couldn't even go to the bathroom anymore, and they got all that back. So that was good. you know, I was really happy to know that everything was back intact for those guys. I don't know why I felt that was hilarious, but it reminded me, like, in the beginning they were Barbies and then they got to be people again. I don't know, that just
Mm-hmm.
kind of made me laugh at that whole thing.
That was kind of fun though too.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
just that they
Mom.
made it, tried to make it so, like, he was so wholesome, but he was such an evil guy. He was.
Mm-hmm. I just want to take 1 second to thank Shill for the gifts. I see that she put out a gift membership
Oh,
for 10
thank you,
people. That's
Cheryl.
like very, very generous of you there, Shill. I appreciate you. Gosh, there was so like 10 people got them. I'll be doing a post so that they can get into the membership into the Discord if they're not already in there. I can see some new names. But those of you that already are in there and got another membership, congratulations. You know, Mrs. C, all of the benefits of membership, you don't really have to worry about it because you have them all as a mod already. You do. Everything that I would give the members, like the moderators have. At least I believe that is true. I think you can even see the members only posts. Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. Well, anyway.
I don't even know about that.
No.
I don't have memberships yet.
No, but you're in it, like you're a collaborator, so you would be in the Discord, so you would see stuff. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And as a creator, you have to get to monetization level, and then they just automatically, then you can have memberships and things like that. Well, now we're at the point where all of the discs are on the floor, and she finally puts it in. You want to take it from there? She just in the nick of time pushes the damn thing in, but it activates the kill switch because he's dead, and the kill switch is going off, and lights are flashing all over the place, and
everything's breaking up.
And she needs to get back to the ship to find out what's going on because Walton is ready to start. They're ready to kill Walton. Walton's ready to kill people. There's all these people coming to annihilate everybody because they think it's like a game.
Broken loose in there. Like it has just gone crazy. And she finds the right disc, and like Claire says, she pops that bad boy in, and she's like, I hate old tech, because it was like an actual hard disc. Like not a floppy disk, not a CD. It was a hard disk. So she pops it in, and it automatically zaps the crew members out, like just at the nick of time, because their shields were on 0. One more hit, and they were gonna they were gonna be gone. And they're like, it's so dark. Like, what's going on? Like, they get zapped out, just boop, yoink, and put into this bubble. And they're like, oh, we're in the bubble place, and they're all excited because she did it. She convinced them. And then all of a sudden, you see some like lights flashing and everything, and Nanette wakes up in St. Juniper Hospital.
Yep.
And she's alive. And she's not in a coma anymore.
Yeah, because part of it was saving them to get them in the same place, right? With only one Walton goes, right? Like not both of them go. Only the one Walton goes with them. And and unfortunately, Karl's dead, right? I don't think Karl goes with them either because
Karl did
Walton,
die.
Walton killed Karl, not believing that, thinking it was a game, and shoots him with the pink gun, and that's how he realizes that these clones are human. They can bleed and die. Not that he cares that much, but he died, unfortunately. So just the ones that are left, which is our blue chick Milanka, whatever her name is, and Kabir and Nate, they end up on a nice little abyss. Yeah, it had nothing, no stars, no coordinates, nothing outside. They were just by themselves. It was just them, and they didn't even have the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Like they have nothing.
They had nothing.
Right. But Nanette wakes up, and then they realize like this bright light and everything, and then they kind of get an idea after she's in the bath, like after she starts walking around, they get an idea what's going on. So they call her phone and they talk to her, and she's like, how do you know I'm in the bathroom? And then she realizes they're inside her head. That's the alternate universe, is in her head.
So now she's got all of her crew with her all the time.
Can you imagine going through life like that? They could see everything you do. So I loved the ending. I absolutely loved the ending. Like, because, well, they're all still alive, and their real people are still alive. Nate's still alive in the real world, and so is Milanka, and so is Kabir, right? They're not working for Walton anymore. I'm not sure Walton's still, Walton is still alive because they watched him get arrested after he ran away. Like he ran away, was on the run for 3 months. He looks like hell. He's got like a beard and everything. He looks very much like Island, like, other
Like
planet
Island
Walton.
Walton. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I call Island, even though it wasn't an island, but it reminded me of that Tom Hanks movie. So I was like, yeah, he looked very much like him when they caught him. And they're, of course, he's going to face charges and he's lost everything, and they're watching the newsreel and they're like all buddy buddy. And they're like, okay, it's our time. Our show is on. And they want to watch it late, the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And she's like, oh no, I want to listen to the lawyer. And they go, oh no, we don't watch you in the bathroom. We don't watch you get dressed, and we don't watch you on your Tinder date. Like, so no, we get to watch it. I'm just like, they had to barter all that out. Can you imagine living with people in your head that you have to make these barter agreements to, like, make sure that like certain private things are still private? Like, how do you do that with like a transmitter in your head? Like, seriously, I can't even.
Yeah. I couldn't even imagine.
The people in real life must think she's crazy. How often do you think she talks to them out loud when other people can hear? Like, how would you possibly do that? That's one of the things that I was like, that I was amused about. Like, just thinking about what her life is like now. First of all, she's never alone. She's got real bonding with people and people to talk to, even when she's alone. But she still gets to live her life. And it's kind of weird. It really is. Well, I wonder if the other ones are kind of jealous, though.
And I kind of wondered that too. And like when I found out they were in her head, it so much ran through my head during this whole episode. But it was like, is this how they found out about, putting people inside the head in the first place? It's like, where does this story actually fall in the Black Mirror timeline? Because so much stems off all this technology, everything that was in this episode, like from the first episode of the season where the lady had brain injury, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
right,
and her whole brain there's so much connected to this.
Her personality gets cloned and then put back into her. Like, yeah, exactly. This whole season, but that's for another episode, because what we're going to do is, after this episode, we are going to have a final wrap up of the season, and we're going to tie all 6. We'll talk about the ties that kind of link the 6 episodes together and all that kind of stuff. But I'm thinking the same as you, Mouse. Like, there's too much like going on, and it's not unusual for Charlie Brooker to take the end of the episode to be like the beginning of the season. Like, this last episode is like the beginning of everything in the beginning of season of season 7. You're absolutely
it was
right.
Like a big, it was like, it reminded me of, again, when I said about it being a cycle. It's like this whole season was one big cycle of craziness.
It was nubbins up the wazoo. There was nubbins everywhere. Yes, everybody had a nubbin, or some type of nubbin device. Like, definitely, it was in everything. In just the technology was foremost. But what I will say is that this episode, as well as the other 5, was very much old school Black Mirror. It is about technology, whether good or bad, and how it becomes good or bad based on what humans do with it. It is about the interreaction of humans in society with modern technology, and how advancements go forward with the intent of being good and productive and this and that, and can be very easily turned into something else. And that is like a common thread through all the beginning of Black Mirror, in pretty much every episode to some level. It is about our relationship with technology and progress, and about human nature in dealing with that, And it's what I love about it, because you can really get into the psychology of it. It gives you so much to talk about. I mean, honestly, Black Mirror is not something you can watch and not talk to anybody about. Like, it begs for conversation. It begs for interaction with others, and like, what did you think about this? And like, what do you think that means? And like, really cool. Like, it's not a solo adventure.
No, Absolutely not.
I mean,
Like,
that's just my opinion, but I'm just a huge fan. But like, that's why I did the whole series, and I'll do it as long as Brooker keeps doing it. I'll keep doing it because there's just so much to look at, so much to expand on. Like even this conversation we're having now, we could go on and on about the implications of everything. We could go back into the beginnings of Robert Robert Daly and how did he get the way he was and his interactions with Walton or with anybody else. What was he really looking for? The psychology of him just not wanting to be alone, the
mhm,
psychology of us all traveling through this world, born alone and die alone, and what happens in between that, right?
mhm.
What happens in between that? You know, in it's a big conversation, and Brooker just likes to pull it out of us. He really does. It it's one of those. He's one of those writers. It's one of those entertainers that just he just gets me every single time. Okay, so you were right. It's about 3 months after the original U.S. Callister. When Charlie Brooker spoke about it, he said it was very precise that it would really, um, really kind of like focus almost immediately. And one of the things he did say in statements when he speaks about this particular episode is that as soon as he started USS Callister and he was in it, he knew he was going to do a part two. He knew it would be the only sequel. That he knew it would be his first time to continue a story. Um, and he originally wanted it to be a whole series, this USS Callister. So his mind was already there with all these separate plot lines and all these separate little things, going on. So he said, like, sometimes, he's disappointed that he has to leave an episode behind. And this is the one where he just couldn't. The characters were so involved. He was so involved in the technology, the ensemble of the cast. Everybody was so behind it. He knew before he wrapped up that there was definitely going to be a part two, and he was really pleased that everybody signed on board except for the one character had obligations, and it really supported it. He wants to keep telling this story. I'm not even sure this story is over.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people living in that girl's head. Like, come on. Like, how
Yeah,
does the
like what
story get?
happens next for them?
Yeah.
Where does it go from here? Because like, how is she going to get them out of there? How are they going to get them
Hmm.
out of there? Like they already have real people in the real world. Like, how does this end?
You know,
Like,
well,
this is a series I would watch. Like, seriously, if we turn that
I
into
I
a
would
series, I
too.
would be there.
I would too, because like Nanette herself has kind of merged her digital version, her clone version versus her real version in such a way, we have to admit Nanette was not very satisfied in her real world life. She was
No.
not functioning to the best of her ability. She wasn't as happy. She was much more accomplished, satisfied in alive in the clone version. And now that they've kind of merge them together, that's a whole big thing to explore. Like, is she going to become a capable leader? Is she going to like forwards ahead? Then how does she do that with these people in her head? And what about the people in her head? How do they feel about like real Nanette walking up to real Kabir and Kabir actually watching it? Like,
Yeah.
and
And
wanting to live his life in reality, becoming a successful programmer or whatever happens to him. Same thing, with Nate, becoming more than just, the
the
gopher,
coffee
the
guy.
the catch, the coffee guy, right? Or the secretary, the receptionist. Now in her real life, she's just the receptionist. She is actually the one running the ship and the transformer and telecommunications on the ship. Nate is actually a warrior and a programmer and a driver of the ship
The
on.
second in command,
Yeah,
pretty
yes,
much.
yeah. So like it's funny how their digital versions, their clone versions are much more successful and satisfying in their life than in the real world. And so I think that is a great way to move forward. Hope you're listening, Charlie. Bug in your ear if you're not already there. Like, it would be epic, and we would definitely watch. you know,
Oh yeah.
it is kind of a dark ending, but a hopeful one. Like, she's in a difficult position. Like, there's no hope for them right now to get out, but they're alive. She's out, but now, they are still tied together.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a typical Black Mirror ending, right? With so kind of unsatisfactory. It doesn't tie anything up. It's kind of like the
Yeah.
endings where did they off themselves or not, or all of that. Like,
Yeah.
you just don't know. It's like his famous door closing episodes where the door just closes a little bit and you don't really know what happens.
Mhm.
Um, but mostly it got a lot of positive reviews, don't you think? I mean, what do you think overall in compared to other episodes?
I'm not. This was probably my one of my top three in this season.
Oh, that's
Um,
pretty high
yeah,
because there's a lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
Eulogy and the first one in the season and Eulogy were the other two that I really liked. Just
Mm-hmm.
because, like, a lot of people can relate to both those scenarios. Like, what do you do when a loved one gets sick, or when you break up with someone and you don't know what could have been, and you know, you just they're the what shoulda, coulda, woulda situations.
Mm-hmm.
So all three of those really, got to me more so than the one like where she became a goddess. Like, I don't know, that one was kind of weird, but yeah, but this one was really good. Like, I
Yeah.
like that he reopened that door
He
because
did. He
normally
did.
he's
And
closing the
that's
door.
always, listen, that's always difficult to do. How many times have we seen sequels or continuations just fall flat? Because they're never as brilliant and shiny as the original idea, because it's the original idea. It's new and fresh to us. So it's kind of like, a double-edged sword when you are continuing this. So I give them great credit for keeping everything kind of the same. Well, that was one of the critical reviews that people were saying, like, it fell flat because it didn't have as much ingenuity, originalness to it. Like, we kind of had some predictability. It was just like tying loose ends, and I'm like, of course, idiot, it's a sequel. Like, you can't expect
Yeah,
it to act like, although it does stand very well on its own. I think it did a great job of explaining the situation over again without it sounding like they were explaining the situation over again. Like, you got what was going on with, even if you didn't watch the first one. I think that
absolutely.
was great. In as far as all of those special effects, that was over and above what they did in the first one. There was like, wait a minute, I have the statistic here: 669 special effects frames alone
Wow.
in this 82-minute episode. That's a heck of a lot.
Yeah.
And it's also, if you've already killed the villain, which they did in part one, they did a great job of tying everything up, because all of the original anxiety, pressure, the newness of it was in one. And he's already dead. You already know he's dead, right? So
Mhm.
it's a it was pretty ballsy to continue it and for it to do as well as it did. And I have to say, on the Reddits and the actual discords for Black Mirror and stuff, where the conversations of fans are happening back and forth, there wasn't really a lot of disappointment. The disappointment came from media writers mostly, who do generally tend to bash sequels in general, like, all the time. And they do have some points, because by continuing it, knowing that he's already dead, knowing we're still dealing with the same technology and the same story, it is kind of watered down a little bit, because there was part one, and it's only inevitable. It doesn't really add a lot of extra story, is what I'm trying to say. Do you know what I mean? Like, there wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it stays in the parameters. But as far as a continuation, well, I don't know about you, but I want a continuation to stay in the parameters.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, I some of these episodes you could Like you kind of just want more. And this was one where you wanted to know what happened to Nanette, what happened to the rest of the crew, like just what happened, and did was there any justice for what happened? Like, and to find out that Daly wasn't the only villain.
Yep. It is. It's like what the critics would say, well, there wasn't a new antagonist. There wasn't anybody new to go against. Well, of course not.
Well,
you can't go, like, of course not. Like, and that it had an ambiguous ending. Well, that's Black Mirror. If you want to finish, if you want a solid ending, don't watch Black Mirror. It's made, it's full of hope, possibilities, and just never-ending options. And it's supposed to make you think. So, like, no, it's not going to tie it up in a nice little bow for you. Like, and that's what I love about it. I want to be entertained. I want to be put in a thought-provoking situation where it expands past what I'm looking at. And I demand a lot from entertainment. That's why I'm so happy with Charlie Brooker, because he does this. But when they praise it, they talk about the visual effects, just like I did in the production, like how outstanding that was and what a bang up job. Another thing that they complimented a lot was the dual performance of for Walton, for the actor who played Walton, Milioti, how he had to play the bad guy and the human guy, and that they liked the action sequence in the battle and the space battles, like adding those gaming characters in is like the pressure in the battles and all. It was really good. You can't really fault the commentary on gaming culture in Digital Experience. It was all spot on as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not even a great big gamer, but like I'd like to know what you guys think. Some of you that are gamers, Mousy, you're a much bigger gamer than I am. I think it took gaming experience. It was spot on how it feels to do all that shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Like when you're ready to play, so you turn on your favorite music, you load up your game, and you just go in, and that's exactly what it reminded me of. And I got excited for it. I was like, oh heck yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, it was relatable. If you are a gamer, it's completely relatable. Totally. And
if you're a sci-fi fan too, because you can just tell that this guy was hardcore into his thing. That was his world, and he made it a world. And not that he did very good things with it, but he thought he was doing good things. He didn't think he was actually hurting people, in my mind, but he was totally evil. So
he really did. This industry exposed. Welcome. I loved the extra detail in the villain's backstory. He was evil, but also taking advantage. Exactly, right? So even though we had the same character, which people were complaining about, they expanded the story like you should in a sequel. They give you more texture and context, right? Like, I think that was very well done. Thank you for bringing that up. In welcome. The other CEO was 100% evil as well. He sure the heck was. Like, he was not a nice character. In the actor Milioti who plays him, he often plays a guy that I can't stand. Like, I often end up wanting to smack that actor. Very, very
a
much
lot of those
so.
roles.
Yes. Like, so now here we are at the part of our stream, Mousy, like, that we're going to talk about the Easter eggs. Because, man, it is one of the other parts of Black Mirror that's kind of a secondary thing that we all get into that is really, really fun. It is kind of fun. So I'm going to let you tell me, did you find any? Like, I didn't ask you before. Did you find any?
Yeah. Well, okay, obviously Saint Juniper was in it.
That was so obvious. Yeah.
That's the obvious one. The nubbin was there.
The nubbin, of course.
And then there was this. Okay, the same thing they had her hooked up to was from another episode in the hospital, and I think that was even episode 1.
Yes, calming people,
yeah,
right?
Calming people. So I mean, just it was connected to that. I mean, it had even Easter eggs from The Matrix, from Ready Gamer 1, or Ready Player 1. I
Yeah.
mean, and these are things that are not even Black Mirror, but they totally
They
had those vibes.
they definitely did. There were so many gamer references and like Star Trek references with the whole Starfleet stuff and everything going on. There was like all of this paraphernalia around. Well, specifically towards the Black Mirror like universe, so to speak. San Junipero has been coming up through this whole season, like I don't know
Yes.
what. We'll get into that in our final recap for the whole season. But that hospital has been stationary in almost every episode. It's been mentioned in some way, and that's from the original San Junipero episode, and also from Black Museum, which is one of the other bigger episodes that ties like a lot of stuff together, in the Black Mirror universe. Well, the some other things, like when you say gaming things, then you're talking about the white bear glyph and the men
Yeah.
against fire emblems that are appearing
Yeah.
everywhere, right? Like I saw those.
Yeah.
The
And then
the mhm.
oh, there was another one. Um and it's mostly the striking viper vibes that I got from it.
It is the Sato Gemu box up there on the
Yeah.
shelf in Daly's
Uh-huh.
shelves, right? And that's from
Yep.
Playtest, which is another big gaming one in the
Yeah.
universe from season 3. Sate Gemu, it was the gaming company, like there's a couple of different gaming companies in the Black Mirror universe, but uh there was a lot. There was a lot here. One that was really, really subtle that I didn't know if you caught, but Pixie, the gamer Pixie, and they were
Yes.
listening to music on their headphones. That was from On the Roll, which was one of Ashley O's songs from season 5. Rachel, Jack, and
Okay.
Ashley, the little thing, the
Yeah.
little artist that ended up in the doll with her whole being inside a unit. Like her whole
Yep.
thing, like the spaceship, her whole thing was in the unit. Yeah, that Miley Cyrus played, yeah. Uh that was a song. That was a song, one of her songs that played
Okay.
throughout there. And so that was a very subtle one. You really got to be a nut like myself. And you know what? I will make fun of myself just as well as the rest of you will. I am over the top about this stuff. Like I watched this particular episode because there were so many little things 7 times already. 7 times. Because there was so much to look at, so much to look at as far as bookcases, in walls, in shelves, and everywhere there's a computer, there's usually some type of little Easter egg, either a sticker on the laptop or something on the desk, or something on the screen. uh, but yeah, as far as gaming companies though, there was one familiar one that I've been mentioning in every single episode. There was another Bandersnatch book found. Bandersnatch being the movie for the Bandersnatch game, you know, and as mentioned, before, that was actually in Daly's garage, or sitting on the desk again. Um, some of the characters that that represented the gamers. The one with the mohawk, right? He was wearing white bear symbols on his vest, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and then all the characters inside the Infinity game thing were all emblems from the Men Against Fire, which was another gaming type symbols going on. They were the same emblem from season 3, Men Against Fire. A lot of the characters within the game were wearing them when they show you like different gaming characters, and I found that fascinating how they tied that in, because it was really subtle. Another subtle one was Raymond chocolate milk. Bob Daly drinks that chocolate milk, right? All the time, from USS
All the time.
Callister from the beginning. And they brought it back to us in Bete Noir, right? Connecting it to Men Against Fire, also Bete Noir with the chocolate milk. Like that chocolate milk is the name branded, like it's throughout a lot of episodes. Like if you see chocolate milk, it's usually the same one. Um, of course, the Space Fleet magazine, that has made plenty of cameos. That was in Waldo, and it was also in Metalhead with the robotic dog. You see it right on the Space
Yeah.
Fleet magazine. You see Waldo Bear, and you see the Metalhead robotic dog. You know, um,
Yeah.
in the U.S. Callister, the original one, do you remember that there was a villain, Valdack, right? Well,
Yes.
there was a poster on the wall in Daly's garage that was called Valdack's Revenge. It was about like a movie poster kind of thing. I thought that was kind of cool. It was like they were Easter egging the original to the sequel. It's like a little bit throwback. And also, I want to note that I have actually seen that poster before. It was in Stephan's bedroom in Bandersnatch. So here we go. We're dealing with the sequel to USS Callister, right? And yet, all the way back in a couple of episodes when we did the Bandersnatch movie, it was in Stephan's bedroom, the same poster. Talk about how far ahead they do all these details and they do all this stuff. Like, that's crazy to me.
They really, just connected a lot of man, I love when anyone does stuff to make like a whole universe just tie together.
Well, yeah. In the end, there were some celebrity YouTubers that showed up, and I don't even know who they are. So maybe somebody could tell me like who they are. But apparently, there's a YouTuber called Dan TDM and one called Tommy
Yeah.
Enid, and they were players that were joining the hunt to track down the Callister. Now, somebody sent that to me, and I don't know who they're talking about. I don't know if they're talking about. You do? Yeah. Okay.
I do. Dan, the Diamond Minecart, and Tommy in it. My kids grew up watching them. They just two gamers that they have just followed since they were 12, 13 years old. And my kids are now like 19 and 21.
Well, so there was also two Demon 79 characters, and I think you brought this up when we were talking privately. Nita Anjana Vasan appears, even with the horns on her head, is one of the ones coming after them. And then somebody called Papa Isidu, I forget who he played, but he also shows up, and that's from Demon 79. And they do like a cameo appearance of gamers that are hunting down the hackers, so to speak. The biggest one was the news ticker, where they're doing the final broadcast where Walton's arrest is featuring, and along the bottom, like you have to catch it really quick. But they talked about the Hotel Reverie reboot, how like Streamberry was putting that out. They talk about the launch of the Throng Let's 2 game. Okay. Yeah. They talk about Rivermind CEO, stepping down, the one from Common People, that technology company. And of course, the famous Michael Callow from all the way in season 1, the UK Prime Minister from National Anthem. He's entering a celebrity vet school, which I found hilarious, because that was you remember? Well, celebrity vet school, because that was the one with the pig. Need I say more? Okay.
No.
So it was like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. How dare you, Charlie? Like, who did that? But it's not always Charlie doing all this. Everybody gets on board with these things. He doesn't even know half of them to get put in, because the director puts him in, the writer, the people on the set, everybody makes suggestions for putting this shit in. They have so much fun with it. There's also Mystery Talisman. There was a plane wreckage, possibly referencing what happened in Demon 79 with the plane records and stuff like that, but we're not really sure like about that one. That could have just been a freebie, although I doubt it. I mean, we also see the Streamberry logo all over the place, and that Space Fleet references were too many to even to even mention, because they kept going to the comic books. They had the Star Trek in this the Space Fleet stuff, like Star Trek stuff, all over the place, all the collectibles, just everywhere, Yeah. But it was a lot. It was a lot.
My favorite Starfleet though was at the end when like he asked Kabir, what does error 606 mean? And he's like, that can't be right, because that means the whole thing's gone. And the next comic book he holds up is Space Fleet, all is lost. And
yes, like, right.
That's freaking great.
Yep, and it's the community going, the whole universe is lost, all is lost. It was like great, and he just crumbles it all. He's just like, he's over with. That
Like
was
freaking
pretty.
space fleet.
Yeah, that was definitely pretty epic. But like, Dan, that's our hour and a half. We did really good. Like, I don't know, anything last you want to say about the episode, or you know,
If you haven't watched it, you really need to go watch them both. Just watch them both together. It's a good
they
time.
they
Best two and
really
a half
were.
hours you'll spend.
Yeah, it is. It's and it was thought provoking too. Like, because I still have
Mhm.
thoughts. I do hope that they actually will continue. Oh, I hope there's a third part because that would be quite interesting. Hey Mip, hey Charlie, thanks for getting in here. We're just about wrapping up now though, so hopefully you'll catch the recap or the replay, so to speak. And for all of those of you listening later, the playlist is listed below for all of the episodes, which includes all of season 7 and all the way back to season 1. I've done every single one, and you can take them one at a time or not. Um, there's also a link to um, the Reddit and also the Discord for Black Mirror, not mine, but for Black Mirror, if you want to get into more uh, conversation with fans or not so many fans, of the show, and you got something to say. But I thank everybody for listening. For those of you to come back later, uh, please do the YouTubey things, in the Twitchy things, in the Kick things. I am trying to build up my platform on Twitch and Kick. It's free. If you have an account, please go over there and just hit the follow. I really appreciate it. It's slow going over there. They don't have a category for things that I do, you know, which is odd. Like, but hey, they're going to have to deal with me anyway, right? So come join me. Hit the like over here on YouTube, and please, especially on YouTube, hit that comment section. I want to hear from you all if you got some ideas. And for those of you that were part of the season 7 reviews, look for an email or a Discord DM because we're going to get together and do a wrap up of the whole season, and I'm really looking forward to that. You know, thank you so much for this, Mousy. You know,
Thanks for having
I'm
me. I had fun.
I'm glad to have somebody else who likes to talk about it. I have to say that this season I had a few people on who weren't really fans of Black Mirror, but really once they watched the episode, they did have a lot to say about it. And I'm glad they saw some of the things that I see. Like whether you're into it or not, you have to say, like when Charlie Brooker does it, he does not do anything half-assed at all. So it's been really good. It's been really good. So Annette, hmm, what do you got coming up next? When's your next stream? Let's do a little promo for you. By the way, everybody, she's
I
linked below. In
I honestly do not know what I'm going to live stream next. I have to get with my buddy Fishnerd and
Mhm.
set something up with him. I usually do morning streams. I'm going to get back to those really soon. I've just I do fish content and I've been having fish problems. I don't want to go into that now. I didn't
Yes,
just
we'll have
yeah,
to go
but
check her out on the back of her community tab or on her prior lives. I have to say it's quite entertaining. I can't wait to come see the new plants. Oops, just spilled the beans, but you did put it on your community tab, so people
I
do know
did.
about
I
it.
got new plants. I'm
Hmm.
setting Snellville. I'm setting my Snellville tank back up. So
I
it'll
do
have
miss
snails.
those blueberries. Just don't name any of them Claire. It didn't really go out too well for that
No,
one.
it didn't go well.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name any yet. I've decided maybe not. Don't name them anymore.
Hello, Cat Ninja. You just stumbled on the very end of a Black Mirror recap. We are out of here now, but hopefully you will watch the replay and find some kind of a connection to Black Mirror because Mousy likes it too. This isn't her first time either, Cat Ninja. She did another one in the beginning of the season with me. Um, it's good. And I look forward to more, Mouse. So I will see you on the recap. Well, I'll see you before that, obviously. But on that, I'm going to end it unless you have anything else to say. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you, everybody on Kick and Twitch for joining us. Everybody who listens in later, let us know what you think. Whether you like it or not, we can take the criticism. We can only get better if you tell us what's wrong. So come on. We enjoy the interaction, and I answer every comment. So Thanks again, Mousy. This was a lot of fun. And I love your avatar. Damn, you're cute with your blue hair. Oh, she makes a mouse look cool, and that ain't easy. Like, that is not easy. You're making a mouse look really cool, and I like it. All right. On that, I'm going to hit one of my favorite outros. This is the only one I actually did myself from A to Z. The only one I kept. I'm never changing it either, people. All right. Good night, everybody.
Night, y'all.